Hi, my name is Sanjana and I have not made a video in a while because I felt like I was not truly saying what I feel about education. I mean, I was saying a lot but truly not saying much. They say writing your ideas help, so I wrote, and I wrote a lot. But in the last 4 months, I've had a lot of time to think about the meaning of what I do and the meaning of what I truly want to say on this platform. For that, I need to tell you a story first. The story starts with my life in Pondicherry. Right now, the streets of Pondicherry are known for its colorful doors, the quaint little streets. It's known for its beach, the people, the croissants, and the quiet little moments it holds within itself. But to me, Pondicherry or Pondi is home. It's where I grew up. And most importantly, it's where I went to school and college. This is where it gets interesting because I went to what we call an alternative education school. Most of the time when I say the term alternative education, people are just confused. They always tend to ask me, do you mean IB? No, I don't mean IB because IB is just a board like ICSE or CBSE. But alternative education would mean systems that use methods of teaching which are different from these traditional boards. It is, like the word suggests, an alternative to these mainstream boards. So these schools pick and choose a structure for themselves that help them break away from the mainstream education system. Mostly these schools eliminate unnecessary competition, rote learning, teacher-student hierarchy, fear in classrooms, and focus mainly on children exploring different senses, their physical, emotional abilities, or just applying a free curriculum that is tailored according to the child's needs and not what an adult wants. The school that I went to was called Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education, and here the main philosophy was called integral education, integrating the mind, the body and our emotional abilities. But the main foundation of this philosophy was to give the child enough freedom for him to be able to harness their intrinsic motivation rather than depend on extrinsic motivation such as exams, marks to do particular things. For this video, I actually started by making bullet points to explain what my school is like and how it is structured, but I immediately tore that page out as I realized I didn't want to just share some facts. And facts are so straightforward, they can be found anywhere, even on my school's website. But for this video, I wanted to share my unique experiences of how I experienced this school because that is something you wouldn't find on any other website. Because at the end of the day, feelings are a lot more transferable and memorable, I think. But if there was one word to define my school, I think it would be freedom. I clearly remember days where we would go to farms and be in nature, harvesting, wandering, picking and collecting fallen flowers and seeds. Days where I would play basketball for hours just to get that perfect shot and angle. And days that I would spend creating a timetable for my academic year depending on what I wanted to learn, because there was that option where I was given the freedom to choose my teachers, the subject, and how many periods I wanted to dedicate for each subject. When I think about the education that I received, at that point I never thought that it was alternative or different from the mainstream, and that is because that was all that I knew. It was only when I was in the 10th standard that I actually started to think about my education quite objectively. And that is when I began to wonder about what was being taught and what was being learned. But the idealistic teenager that I was, even though I noticed problems with my system, the only thing that I said at that point was, all schools should follow the same principles as my school and all schools should be the same. Feeling very proud of this teenage realization, I sent a huge mail to an old Auroville man who was in charge of research and education for schools in and around Auroville. What we discussed somewhat dictates my life till date. It has had a huge impact on the way I approach education. He said, this kind of alternative education is the only thing you have experienced. How can you form such a strong opinion when you have seen only one side of the solution? This advice is also one of the biggest reasons I'm part of Teach for India as a fellow, It's an effort from my side to understand the mainstream education system so that I can form better and more holistic opinions towards the educational crisis that we are facing as a country. Now coming back to what this channel is going to look like from now on, and what is it that I truly want to say. If there was one term, then I think it would be alternative education. That's it. I just want to push for alternative education so that there is a movement of people who really want to challenge our education system. And I think that people can only challenge our education system if they can form unbiased and objective opinions about our system. And I feel like to be able to do that, they need to have enough factual information with them to play around with. So basically, I think we can only choose a better system if we know there are better options available already. So here is where we will talk about the alternative, and here is where we will build a better education system for our next generation.